Good morning, WPN retailers. I'm going to give us a minute here before we get started. My name is Bill Stark. I am the product manager for Wizards Eventlink, and I'm going to be demoing that today. I'm very excited to show everyone what we've been working on for the past several months. As you can see, the name has not been fully settled on yet. We're still doing a couple reviews, and that's because we are very early in the release cycle for this product. So about a year ago, I was at the Gamma convention presenting on where we were headed with our event reporting software and gave a first look at Event Reporter, as it was then known. Now we are calling it Wizards Eventlink, and still making sure that name's going to work perfectly. So I think we've got most people available. I'm going to go ahead and dive in. We're going to frame the conversation today through two different lenses. The first is I'm going to share with you the design idea behind Eventlink. Why are we building this tool? What does it do for you as a retailer in a traditional setting? And then secondarily, I'm going to present to you on how we've adjusted our rollout plans and the tools itself to support our retailers in these sort of extraordinary circumstances that we find ourselves in now, by allowing you to facilitate remote play with your players, either through remote arena play that you're charging entry fees for or remote webcam-based tabletop play. So as you know, or as you may have noticed, we're on retailer.wizards.com here. That's the new link that you'll use to access your reporting tool. Event Reporter is designed to replace Wizard Event Reporter, or WER, and that's the goal behind Eventlink. When we started building Eventlink, we knew that we wanted to build a browser-based solution because every WPN retailer has access to a browser. So what this means for you as a store is that you can now use Apple devices, if that's what you use to run your business, to access Wizards Eventlink and run your tournaments. You can use it on mobile devices. If you're using tablets or you want to move around freely in the store, so long as your tablet has a browser, you can access it and run your events from there. You can use it in a pinch. You could use it on a cell phone. So I clicked sign in. That took me to this page. It's very easy to sign in using your Wizards account. And your Wizards account is the new login system that we use for accessing products that Wizards is putting out. This is a single sign-on system, and as we move forward, you'll see all of the products we release using this single sign-on so that you don't have to remember a dozen different sign-ons or logins to contact us, and so that your players don't have to remember a 10-digit DCI number for this, a different login for something else. They can just remember their email address and use that to register with your events. I'm going to show you more about that in just a moment. But for now, be aware, if you don't have a Wizards account yet, you'll want to create one at myaccounts.wizards.com. And we have articles up about that over on the WPN site. Speaking of the WPN site, if you have questions today, please feel free to holler them out in the comment section associated with this stream over on the Facebook page. Our wonderful community manager, Nelson, is following along. He's going to be answering those questions, and I'll be joining him later today to answer any questions that need a deeper technological follow-up. So feel free to holler those out, and we will get to them as we can. So this is what your Wizards login looks like. If you have an Arena account or if you're using Magic the Gathering Companion, you can use the same account. You don't need to sign up a second time. And for understanding how you associate that account with your store, please check out the article on the WPN website that walks you through that process. It's very simple. Now, you're seeing what my view looks like as a WPN admin. As a retailer, you would see the stores that you have available to you here. For most retailers, that's going to be a single location. You just click it here and then start working on stuff. If you have a couple locations, you pick which one you're building events for today. I'm going to be building with our test store that we use. So this is what Wizards Eventlink looks like when we get to the main calendar page. Now, I get a lot of questions from folks about why we're building this tool, and that's one of the framings I'm going to talk about today. We find ourselves in a new regulatory environment from where we were 15 years ago, I think it's been, since we built the original Wizards Event Reporter. In the new world, regulations like GDPR in Europe and the European Union, or the CCPA laws coming out of California, make changes to how we deal with people's data to make sure that we keep those secure. So we've made a couple shifts to how the product works for running your events. First and foremost, Offline mode and your local player database don't work as tool sets in the current regulatory environment. So to solve those problems, we've come up with a couple new solutions that will make that easier for you in light of the new laws that kind of guide our hands on what we can do with that. To start with, let's walk through how you create an event. It's pretty simple. If you want to create an event right now, you can click the Create Event button. You can also schedule an event directly by just creating a new event from the calendar. I'm going to create an ad hoc event today, and I will put the title here. Pretty easy. I'm going to do a remote play tabletop event. You can set the format. One of the ways that you can think of this series of fields is that this is the information that's going to display to your players using Store and Event Locator. So for those of you who are not familiar, the Store and Event Locator is a tool that my team runs as well. We get millions of hits a month of players who are looking for events or retailers to go become customers of. This is the information that feeds that tool and educates those players on the type of events that they can join at your store. So you can see we have some new fields. For those of you familiar with Word, the set field is new for booster drafts when we're running back in our traditional tabletop events. We don't have people in quarantine or dealing with those types of situations. You can add this field now to let your players know, hey, what format are we going to be playing at the booster draft this week? Oh, it's Theros Beyond Death, or it's Ikoria, whatever it's going to be. The format, pretty simple stuff. Your rules enforcement level, your pairing method, very familiar with these from using in the past, whether you're going to have a top 8 or not, that you cut to your event. If you want to schedule the event, you can think of this button as meaning this is how I get this information to show up in Store and Event Locator. So if I want this event happening in the future and I want people to know that it's coming up, I click this, I fill out my date and my start time. My time zone is automatic based off my browser settings. So wherever you are in the world, it should handle that automatically for you to make this process easier. We have a new field here. In addition to start time, we have estimated end time. So this is a new field that lets you as a retailer give an estimate or a guideline of approximately when your event is going to end. And that's great for someone like me as a consumer. I'm a player. I am also a parent. I want to bring my kids to their first Magic tournament. We have 4 hours on Friday night before bedtime that we could participate, but not 8 hours. So when I see your estimated end time to being 4 hours, I know that's the right fit for me, and we'll go play Magic instead of saying going to a movie or something of that nature. So down here, you'll see the capacity. You can set a capacity if you want only a certain number of people to be able to join the event. And you also have new fields that let you define what the entry fee is. And of course, you can specify it's your local currency. Then your description field lets you fill out information about the event that you want your players to see right there for your events in the Store and Event Locator. So I'm going to add a description here for this remote event. Say, join our Discord channel for more information so that players can see on the Store and Event Locator, how do I get involved with this? And through my settings, I can actually define what my URL is for the Discord channel. So for those of you who have been paying attention to the WPN articles, you may have already been reached out to about how to do this. You can do it through the old software, very simple to do, and then they'll be able to find your Discord channel easily. So I'm going to save this event. Let's make sure that we know it's for the Facebook live stream. I will save that. We're going to unschedule it because I don't want it to show up in Store and Event Locator right now. It's just a demo event. And then I'm going to scroll down here. Let's see where it was. Here we go. I'm going to open this event. Okay, so we're going to walk through now what it looks like to register players into this software. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. We really focused on trying to make this experience as smooth as possible for you, our retailers, and for your players so that they're having a better experience and that the tournament logistics are not things that drive them away from the store. So for example, I get people who ask me, what about offline mode? It doesn't work in the new regulatory environment. We can't offer that feature. How do we offset that? And it's pretty simple. By being browser-based here, as you can see, you have the ability to access this event as the retailer by logging in from anything that has a browser. So the example I give frequently, here at my home, I have Comcast internet. If my Comcast internet goes out, I can go ahead and access this software from my tablet, which uses a T-Mobile connection. So I can use my iPad, I can run the event. All of the data is stored automatically. When you enter results, the browser caches it immediately. So if your computer crashes, if your internet cuts in the midst of it, all that information is there. I log in on my tablet, boom, it's ready to go. If my T-Mobile connection goes down, the tower goes down or whatever's happening, I can use my cell phone if I needed to. I think it's on Cricket Wireless, which uses the AT&T network. I can log in through there, and I'll be upfront with you, the phone interface is not going to be the most ideal so far, because we haven't fully developed that set of features just yet, but it does function. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from a store employee's tablet that they're using on the Sprint network. So you have all of these different ways to access it if something catastrophic happens. And at the end of the day, I think if you're running an event and Comcast is down and T-Mobile's down and Sprint is down and AT&T and Verizon are down, don't worry about your tournament. Figure out what tornado or hurricane or whatever natural disaster is happening there and protect your players, because something's going on. So how do we add our players to this event? It's pretty simple. They come in, instead of saying, hey, what's your DCI number? Now I simply say, hey, good to see you, Bill. What is your Wizards account login? For me, I use an email. Everyone will have an email address that they access with it. Mine is just simply my work email. Hit that, click enter, boom. Bill is in the event. That is all he had to do. Now you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's a section called Expedited Players. And as I said at the top of the live stream, I want people to be aware that you're seeing this in a very early alpha version. We had at this phase planned on several stores giving us feedback. I have been using this software for the last several months to run my draft events at Wizards of the Coast. So we do a weekly draft with about 100 players who participate. It's been doing that. It's done a stellar performance of doing all that. It's been really great. And one of the things that we do is give players the opportunity to join through our companion app. This is another portion of the experience. It is in the open beta test on the mobile device stores, so the Android store, the app store for Apple. And you see the 6-digit code here at the top. I can give that to my players and say, hey, here's how you can join the event. They put that code in on Companion, and I'll walk you through what that looks like in just a minute. They join the event automatically. So I can see here, Nelson, I assume, has joined the event. I get Nelson the entry fee that he owes me for the event. I verify that he's paid that, and then I can just click. He's entered into the event. Super easy. Oh, I've got some other players joining us. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that you also have the app already. I'm going to leave you out of this event just for today, but I appreciate you taking the time to join. And you can actually run a test event in your own store whenever you want with the Companion app. Check it out how it works, and we're going to walk through how Companion works directly in just a moment. So again, that 6-digit code goes to my players. If I meant to add a top 8 and I forgot, I can cut here. There's a third way that I can add folks, and I want to make sure people are aware of this as well. It's possible that players may not have a Wizards account. For example, if you have someone who's underage and they can't get through the COPPA workflow, which is an important law that protects children's data and privacy on the internet, you can still have them participate in your event in a compliant fashion by using what are called our guest accounts. So let's say we have this player, his parents didn't come today, he's not able to use an official Wizards account. We can go ahead and register them as a guest. What that means is they'll be able to see all of the tournament information, they'll be able to participate in the event, but nothing is going to be stored about that user. So this is a one-time temporary account. There's not going to be anything associated with this play history, and that allows you to still make sure that your customers can be your customers, even if they're having issues signing up, getting an account, they're too young, whatever it is, you can still in a compliant fashion have them participate in your events. Now, it's going to be important for you to convert your players to Wizards accounts as they're comfortable, because that lets them see their play history. They get a ton of associations with that. Once it's in there, then it's done forever. You'll need the Wizards account to use the Companion app. There's lots of benefits to having it. But if for whatever reason a customer isn't comfortable with that or doesn't want to, no big deal. They're still your customer. You can still add them. And then if you want to create an account, it's easy for the players to do right in your store. They can do it on their mobile device, going to myaccounts.wizards.com, set it up. It takes about 30 seconds. And then they're good to go from that point forward. So we're going to start this event. You can see here is what the pairings and the results screen looks like. So at this point in time, what I'm going to do is show you what the companion side looks like for your players. And I'm going to give it just a second to catch up in case there's some lag. So we'll go to a slide deck here I put together of what your user will see on the Companion app for players who are participating in Companion, and how that can support you in the remote play that you may be running right now during quarantine and shelter-in-place orders. So when your players download Companion from the Android Play Store, the Google Play Store, or the Apple App Store, they're going to see something that looks like this. And this app is in beta, just like Eventlink is. So you can find it in the Android store, or you can find it by using a link that we have provided, and you can follow up with information on the WPN website for the article with that link through Test Flight. I want to clarify something for folks who've had some confusion. If you go directly to Test Flight because of how Apple structures its playtests, you won't be able to find the app directly there. You'll need to use the link that we provide, and you do not need a code to download it. Some people will be notified they need a code. If that's the case, you're using the wrong link, go ahead and find the link in the WPN website, and we can follow up in the Facebook comments with more information about that. So I'm a player, I've downloaded the app, this is what I see. I can host an event at home. We let players use the power of Wizard Eventlink to run an event at home. Up to 16 players, we limit it. If you're getting more than 16 players for your home event, go ahead and join the WPN, host an event there. And this is because it let us test the services that we're using to power Wizards Eventlink that you're going to use in our stores very early on to make sure those services are stable, that they've been hardened, that we know that they work. That's why we built it this way, to protect your business and make sure these services work for you when it's time for you to use them. So for this event, what your user is going to do is click the Join Event button. They're going to see a screen like this. So on my Companion app, I see this window to put an event code in. That's the code that you give me as the organizer. I put that in the event code here and click the Join button. Then I move along to this page, and it just tells me, hey, you're in. We're waiting for the players for the event to begin. It gives me some important information down here about the event. Tells me what format it is, best of 3, whether it's a best of 1 type format, and then the pairing style, a single elimination, Swiss, whatever it might be. That displays to me here, so I have some of that information. So Companion is an experience, is the way for your players to interact with all the tournament information that they need throughout the course of your event. So after you start your event, as a player, I'm going to get a push notification that tells me, hey, here's your pairing. When you're playing tabletop events, or you're hosting tabletop events for your players through Eventlink, the players using Companion won't need a pairing sheet. They won't need to be told what their pairings are. They can just look at their phone. You can see here, it tells me which table to go to. It has my opponent's name. And here's some valuable information for those of you who are trying to run remote events right now. There's 2 pieces of information this tells me about my opponent. I have their name. So Cy Nygaard is one of my colleagues here at Wizards of the Coast. He's the engineering lead overseeing the people who have built this product, both Companion and Wizards Eventlink. And then below, it has his arena name as well. And the reason that we scrambled to fix out to present both of these pieces of information to your players is because for those of you who are running remote play arena events, this is what your players will need in order to direct challenge one another to play in your event. If you're running a tabletop event in your store, or you're running a remote tabletop event through webcams, they need the player's first and last name to find out who to play from your Discord channel or however you're pairing players. So I get my pairing. I know who I sit against. This is also my match slip results slip, right? So I can, from this app, report what my results are. In this case, Cy won 2-1. He got 2 games. I did get the second game, but he got me in the third. So Cy wins, and I click submit. When your player clicks submit, they're going to see a confirmation screen. So the person who is submitting the result sees the confirmation screen. It says, hey, let's make sure that you did this right. Is it correct? And it also lets them know your opponent is going to be able to see this on the Companion app that they are playing. Why is it important to tell them that? It's because we want to make sure people know this is a safe and secure way of reporting their results. It's not a fraud vector. And the reason is because your opponent will see this information, know what you reported, and be able to contest it with a tournament official, just like they can now if there's an issue with a match slip, or if they can find out that something wrong happened after someone reports it to you directly. This is actually, as someone who was a pro player for a number of years, a big step forward in tournament integrity because of how we've designed this system. So after I confirm this is correct, I see this screen. My opponent Cy is going to see a screen that says you won 2-1. That was what your opponent said. And if they have any concerns about that, they can go see the tournament official. They can talk with you, and that will give them the opportunity to contest it if they need to. If you contrast that to the real world today, players report a match result and then that slip disappears or the person that reported is gone. They don't know what was told. They can't look at it on their phone. They don't have a way to verify the result. This ensures more integrity and reduces the likelihood that you have opponents or players who come to you in round 5 saying, hey, in round 4, my opponent reported the match wrong, and puts you in that awkward position of saying, okay, do I undo all of the round 5 results, fix the result from round 4, and repair everyone? Now with Companion, your players are much less likely to make that mistake because not only do they both get to see what the match result was reported as after the person submits the result, they can look at that information for the duration of the round and come back to you if they have questions. It doesn't just disappear like it does in the old world. All right, I'm going to switch back over to the Wizards Eventlink page now and talk for a moment here to get any stream lag to catch up. You saw what the Companion experience looks like for your players, but what does it look like for you as a retailer to input results for players? Now, as always, you are able to override the results that your players give you, just like you can now. You can always edit them and change them, and you're the master controller of what the tournament data is. As you can see, you can input the result here. I got paired against Nelson. The hotkeys for results entry are just the same as they always have been. You can drop a player from here if you want, or they can choose to drop from the Companion app directly if they choose. If you need to add a penalty, you can do that here, or you can add a penalty that's separated from a match result by just clicking up here and clicking the penalties tab. Looks like this. You can view the standings at any time. Here's what the pairings look like. Now, at GAMA last year, I had a lot of great questions during the presentation I gave, and one that I thought was really valuable was someone that asked, are things going to work the way I'm used to them working in the past? Or are all my players going to have Companion? Is this a whole new technology world? And the answer is, we built all of these new solutions on top of the functionality that you've always had to run your business. So for example, if you found that printing match pairings, match slips, those types of pieces of information works best for you and your players, you're still able to do that. Right here, you click on event options. You have all of the different options for printing that you can do right there. If shouting out the results or the events pairings is what works for you and your team, that's totally fine. You can still do that. In addition to that, you can offer these new features like the Companion app with the event codes and participating with a better user experience for your players by controlling the results. That also saves the work that you have to do. When Nelson reports what the Companion app result was here, we see that pull up and it lets me know, oh, okay, that work is done. Then I don't need to do that, right? As a retailer, as a staff member, I don't have to do that in the event. My player can do it, right? So this is what it looks like to do that. We saw Garrick got a bye. We'll create the next round. Pretty standard stuff. It's going to go to the next round. And then we'll have Nelson winning this one, start the round timer, put our result in. We've got both results. We can end the event. It's pretty standard stuff, just like we have now. You can see what the final standings were. Then you can go back to your calendar option, take a look at the events that you've got coming up, start another event, whatever it is that you need to do. So let me just make sure that we covered everything today. I did want to make sure that people understood this is browser-based, like I said before, so your Apple devices are going to work. Anything that runs a browser is going to work effectively with this. And for those of you who are trying to operate with remote events that are happening now that are either through tabletop webcam play or through direct challenge and arena with your players, we are making Wizards Eventlink available to you now with Companion app in a very early phase so that you can support your business a little bit better. Normally, we would do a lot more feature testing and do a little bit more time on making sure all the features we want in for minimum functionality are there. But because of the extraordinary circumstances we're in, we're taking this powerful tool, we're giving you access to it now. That means you may find some bumps along the road. That's totally expected in the process of this. If you find that's the case, you can reach out to us, feedback@wizards.com. Go ahead and put Wizards Eventlink in the subject title. We consume all of those responses that we get, and that helps us understand bugs that you might be facing. I've had the opportunity to talk to retailers in person over the last month or two as we've been slowly rolling this out, and then as we've expedited the access to retailers now. It's been great getting feedback from people, and I look forward to hearing from you about what your thoughts are, what the issues you may be having in supporting things, and the feedback that you want to give us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the live stream for today. If you have questions, like I said before, wonderful. We're excited to help get clarifications to you about what those are, what the answers to those questions are. You can go ahead and ask them in the Facebook comment thread associated with this live stream. Additionally, we have a number of WPN articles on the WPN website that you can look at as well that can provide some of the answers to questions like, how do I get my store associated with Wizards Eventlink now so I can start running events or so I can start using the software? You can find answers to that strictly through the WPN website, or you can ask for clarification through that Facebook comment section, and we'll go ahead and provide that to you. I want to give you a sincere thanks for participating in the live stream today or watching the video afterwards if that's where you're at. And I'm really looking forward to serving your needs. The team has been hard at work at these two products for the last 12 months. We're very excited to get them into your hands so you can use them to empower your business during some of these challenging times, and excited to adopt your feedback to make sure they're meeting the needs that your businesses have and building the right solutions for you. For now, this is Bill Stark. I'm going to go ahead and sign off the live stream, and I look forward to answering your questions as they come up on the Facebook page. Thank you so much for your time today.